Hey guys, it's Marissa from Grow in the Flow, and I'm coming in here on video 5 of 7 of our exploration of the planetary days of the week. So if you're just coming in on this series, if you're in our Facebook community, you will see the previous videos and posts pinned to the top of our page. If you're on my YouTube page, you will see a link below in the description to the playlist to catch up on all of the days of the week that we've discussed so far. So here today, we're talking about Monday. And Monday is another one of those days that is an obvious name. It is Moon Day. It is connected with the moon. And of course, that connection is with intuition as well. So we're talking about those energies coming in where the 2 previous days were very masculine. We were looking at male deities. We were looking at very yang energy with taking action. Mondays are about the feminine, the divine feminine, and receiving and connecting in with our intuition. And here we have deities coming forward as Selene, Artemis, Hecate, and others, Luna. And of course, the crystals associated with the moon and Monday are going to be selenite, pearl, moonstone, blue kyanite, and labradorite. The energy archetypes of intuition, emotion, feminine, and again, receiving, being receptive with the celestial body of the moon. So with Monday representing the moon, that's a day for us to really be feeling connected in with our intuition and our space to just be still and flow. Now, I find a little bit of irony in that since Monday is typically the start of a new week. A lot of us tend to have manic Mondays like I did today, which is why I'm coming on here so late in the day. Thank you, daylight savings time. But even so, it can be in the fray, it can be in the chaos that we learn to really connect in with our intuition amidst all the noise, to find that peaceful place in the midst of all of that chaos. And so that's where we have an opportunity to make space for sitting with our emotions, being in flow with our feelings, practicing self-care, getting our creative side and exploring that, journaling, meditating, allowing our intuition to take the lead. So there's some really beautiful energies that come forward there with the moon. So when we check the moon oracle card for today, the key word is perception. And of course, that talks about the moon being that beautiful, the ruler of Cancer, that deep inner river of emotions. It's about what motivates us, how we experience and express our feelings, how we nurture and need nurturance. In our astrological charts, the moon is just as important as the sun. So when we tend to look at our zodiac sign, we talk about our sun sign. And even though it's much smaller, it's just as important. So it's talking about in the book, I love these cards because they're educating us as we go, that by a coincidence of relative size and distance, from our earthly perspective, the sun and moon are symbols of consciousness and unconsciousness, appear to be the same size when we look up in the sky. And this proportion makes eclipses possible. That's how we see that. And yet they are not proportionate in size, but they appear that way. The moon cycles through the zodiac in 27 and a half days. So it changes signs every 2 days, and it's those different signs that color our moods, habits, and behaviors. So that's where when we attune to the moon, we can really get some perspective on where our moods and habits and behaviors might be coming from through that lens of the moon and the zodiac that it is in. So when we talk about the moon challenge. The moon challenge is for us to look to feelings rather than logic. Now, this is a shift because we talked about our to-do list. We talked about, thinking through and having some strategic planning throughout the weekend. We're talking here about connecting in with feelings as opposed to logic, to move any given situation forward. So if anything's coming to mind for you today, and as we talk about the oracle message that came forward, tune into your feelings about this situation. Notice any strange responses to anxiety, touchy personal defenses, subjectivity, or insecurity, either in your motivation or in those that are around you, and tend to the fear that lies beneath these behaviors. So really kind of like peeling back layers and seeing what's underlying. So maybe you're hesitating, and this ties in beautifully with the Oracle card. Maybe you're hesitating to take the leap, take a step on something. Why is that? What is the underlying fear? That kind of stuff is what we want to be asking ourselves. Now, the moon's gift is that the knowledge that you are one with the ebb and the flow. So watch what sign the moon occupies each day and let the moon teach you about its phases. Align yourself with those tides and make your life easier. And I love that. You know, I've said before, we tend to tune into the full moon and the new moon, and yet there are all the other phases in between that have some really powerful energies that we can work with. So it's worthwhile to, and you can just Google this, you can pull up a calendar, a moon calendar, just to tune into what the phase is on any given day and understand how that might be coloring your day. And incidentally, of course, this week we are building up to the full moon in Virgo on Friday. So we're definitely going to be feeling that energy building as we move to the end. We're going to talk a little bit about that as well. So the moon action is first perceive what unspoken emotional inner calling and patterns drive you. Look to your own moon sign. So check into what your own moon sign is on your natal chart. When you cooperate with your moon's emotional motivation, you'll find it easier to walk in harmony with your path. Next, investigate the needs and wants of those around you. The emotions underneath the surface actually run the show. And that's so true. You know, and I think about this with children, because sometimes the behavior that presents to us is one thing, but what's really going on under the surface, there could be so much more to the emotions that are driving that. And the same is true with adults, you know, and that's something to be cognizant of when we're also trying to look at others and understand where behaviors and actions might be coming from. The primary drives are expressed through habits and actions, nuance and expression, rather than through words. So again, people aren't always clear about what they're feeling or where it's coming from. You have to read those subtle habits and actions, and that's where your intuition comes in and your empathy and feeling into it when you're talking about others and when you're connecting in with yourself. So look for that underground ocean. It carries the soul's energy. That's so beautiful. Speak to the insecurities that slow this process for you. So when you're looking at yourself and the underlying emotions, act in a way that helps others feel nurtured, warm, and emotionally connected. Make them feel at home. Tend the food, water, the home base. Like the moon, the energy in this situation will wax and wane. So assess the current phase and work with those cycles. So that's some really beautiful guidance there for really attuning to the moon. And I think we can expand on that on Thursday. I will be talking about the full moon, how we can work with the full moon to release, let go, forgiveness, and really get ourselves ready to manifest and bring in the new on the other side of it. And this is amazing, beautiful time. We are getting ready to wind down the zodiac year. We're getting ready to welcome in spring. So this is a wonderful time for shedding those layers. So we're going to talk about that on Thursday. And this brings us to the Oracle message today, which is 3, 2, 1, jump. I love it because that's exactly what we want to do on the other side of releasing and letting go and shedding those layers. So the 3, 2, 1 jump is asking, how many times have you been just at the edge, but then turned around? False starts, chickening out at the last moment, right? Have you ever been in a situation similar to the one that you're faced with now? So feel into what's coming up for you when we talk about that. Perhaps it seems scary only because you think you don't have a net. Do you believe your wings will appear when you leap? If only you knew then what you know now. So this is talking about all of those unseen cheerleaders rooting for you, and that's going to be, you know, your higher self, guides, universal energies that you can attune into, plus your tribe, your people that you can connect with, rooting you on, cheering you on, and really connecting in with your higher self to think back to that situation back then when perhaps you felt the same vibration you're feeling now in your hesitancy. What at that time, knowing what you know now, could you have told your past self that would have helped you move through that situation with more grace and ease? And now feel into connecting with your higher self for the situation that you're standing in now, and ask him or her what advice that they would give you in this situation. And that is one way that you can connect in with your higher self. And you can journal that. You can just sort of, do some breathing and settle in and just start writing and just allow it to come forth. If I could do anything and there was nothing to fear, what would I do? And just let it go and just write it out. So that's a beautiful message that comes in, and it reminds us that, this is the time for us to really be stepping into those larger roles, to be connecting in with our most authentic selves. And the countdown is on. 3, 2, 1, jump. So that's a beautiful message, and it gives us a cosmic catalyst. What am I standing on the precipice of? What will it take for me to finally jump? So these are questions to reflect on. Again, journaling, just kind of having that rhetorical thought process of how that's coming forward for you today. And then you're challenged with the cosmic checkbox to place at least one immovable date on the calendar that will force you to move forward. So making yourself accountable, making a commitment to yourself, putting that appointment in your phone, scheduling it on the calendar is the best way to really take that first step in the 3, 2, 1 jump. So those are the messages that came forward here for our Monday. Next up tomorrow, the planetary day of the week is Tuesday. So if you'd like to join us, we're going to be talking about Tuesday and the planet Mars and the energy of courage. So do check back, stay tuned. And I want to say I am sending you so much love and many blessings. Till next time, take good care.